To be or not to be? That is the question at hand. Or in other words, let me rephrase it like this for this episode. To conform or to confront? Listen, there are negative connotations put on both of those words. Conforming, confronting. Neither's negative, neither's positive. It just depends on what the situation is and what you should do and if you have the wisdom to actually do it. Today's going to be a fun episode. And today we're going to be talking a lot about culture and what we should do and how we should play our parts within certain cultures. I think you're going to really like this one. You already know what time it is. Welcome to the narrative of Niles Nassim. Let's get this show started. And we are back with another episode of the narrative of Niles Nassim with me, your host, Niles Nassim. And I am so glad to give you 10 to 15 minutes of weekly motivation so that you can get to where you want to be and become the person that you want to become. Now, let's get rocking and rolling with this episode to conform or to confront. What is the right decision? Now, what we have to first talk about when we're talking about conforming or confronting is culture. Every company, every friend group, every religion, every country, any subsection of humanity has a culture within it. Traditions, callings, values, sayings, different things that make up the very fabric of their identity. Now, culture is not a bad thing. It's not at all. Culture is actually a fundamental pillar of humanity. Without culture, what do you call life? What is there in life if you don't have culture? What can you hold on to? What can you use to differentiate yourselves? Culture is like the coloring that you put on a painting. You know what I'm saying? Culture is like the crayons that you use in a color book. It takes that bland black and white picture that you see on the page and it adds life to it. It adds vibrancy. It adds something that allows the page to pop. Culture is essential. It's like seasoning on food. Anybody having bland chicken? You better add some more than just salt, some accent, some peppers, some sazon, some adobo, oregano, whatever you got to do to make that chicken pop. Culture is the seasoning of humanity. Okay. Now here's the thing. The question is, when you find the culture in different seasons of life, depending on what group you're running with, what should you do with it? How should you play your part? You got two options. As we always say in the title, conform or confront. Conform into the culture or confront that culture. Now the question is, what should you do? Okay, so we're going to figure out what we should do. Let's define what our two options are. What does it mean to conform? Conform means to assimilate or to ingratiate yourself within something. All right? Conforming is not a bad thing, especially when conforming to something is allowing you to progress and grow. So, for example, if you are an athlete, okay, and you go to a new school or a new team and it has a culture of hard work and dedication, probably want to conform to that culture. If your team is getting up 5 a.m., getting their workouts in, leaving no stone unturned, making sure that they're in film sessions, making sure that they're crossing every I and dotting every T, learning the playbooks backwards and forwards, not just relying on talent alone, working on team cohesion. They're putting in after hours. They're not going out and getting drunk and wasted all the time or getting in trouble. No, they're going to bed, priming their bodies, making sure that they can get up and perform at the highest level that they can the next day. That's something you should conform to if you actually want to be great. It's the same with a company. If you have a company that values hard work and integrity, showing up on time, keeping a consistent schedule, making sure that you are accountable, making sure that you are getting the necessary help that you need so that you can succeed. Yeah, that's a culture you got to conform to. If it's a religion, if that religion is teaching you how to be a moral and upstanding human being, how to think outside of yourself, how to care about other people, understanding what true love and devotion is for something that is more than just what you see here on earth, then that is a culture you should conform to. There's nothing wrong with conforming. Too many times people say, oh, well, I don't conform anywhere because, I don't really fit in, and there's no reason to fit in anywhere because you're supposed to stand out. Everything that people say, it's not black or white. Eh, Sometimes, actually, most of the time, life is in the gray. It just is. Sometimes you don't need to stand out. Sometimes you're not conforming just to be a problem. You're just conforming, not conforming just for the sake of fighting back and fighting the power. When there's nothing to fight. You know those people. You know there are people that just want to be different so bad. And it's like, why? Everybody's going right. Everybody's going right. And not just like, oh, everybody's going right and they're about to fall off a cliff. No, everybody's going on the right path. Everybody's going right. They're going somewhere that's positive. They're going somewhere that's going to progress them. And what you want to do? Well, because everyone is going that way, I'm going to go left. Why? Why? Conforming is not a bad thing, okay? But it can be if the culture is cancerous. If you're a part of a culture that is not helping you progress, it's helping you, it's making you regress, yeah, then we're going to need some confrontation. That's fact. So then let's talk about confrontation. What is confrontation? To confront something is to meet it head on. And sometimes you do it in a nice way. Sometimes it's in a not so nice way. When you're confronting something, you're usually opposing it. And guess what? Opposition ain't always a bad thing either. Because you see, there are some things in cultures that can be poisonous or cancerous to people. If you're in a culture that values, stabbing people in the back or trying to one-up people or dragging someone down or being crabs in the barrel, trying to make sure that you have to step over somebody to get to the top, you're going to have to start doing some confronting. If you are in a culture where people are talking to you any kind of way and are making you feel less than or degrading you, you're going to have to do some confronting there. If you are in a culture that is making you change your moral standards, the very fabric of who you are, diluting your character and making you somebody that you can't recognize, you're going to have to do some confronting. And guess what? Here's the thing. In life, you will be put in seasons and in groups where you are going to have to conform because that conforming is going to help you progress. It's progressing you. It's going to make you a better person. Because you're being put in a situation to where you can learn lessons to help elevate your mind state and your way of thinking. It's going to help you understand and grow in ways that you never even thought before, because there are people that are far ahead of you. There are people behind you. There are people that are right beside you, all within this culture that you can learn from. And if you can integrate and ingratiate yourself within that, you will become a better person. Guess what? There are times that God's going to send you to certain groups so that you can be the nuclear bomb and blow that thing up. You are made to be the opposition because you are going to bring a new perspective that is going to bring new life to that system. You are going to attack the cancerous cells that are there and eliminate them so that new ones can grow. Your body, that ecosystem can actually be able to thrive and move to the next level. You're going to be put in both. Now the question is, how do we have the wisdom to understand which is which? How do we have the wisdom to understand what should I do in what moment? Because here's the thing. Doing the wrong thing can be dangerous. If you are opposing at the wrong time, you can lose the opportunity. What sense does it make to try to be a change agent if you get kicked out of the place in the first place? Like, even if the place didn't really need to be changed. I'm just fighting the good fight. Like I said earlier, sometimes there's no fight to fight. And sometimes opposing people just to be a devil's advocate or just to be, no one likes that. No one likes that. But you also got to understand too, when you conform with the wrong people, you follow the wrong pack, they'll lead you right off a cliff. It's the blind leading the blind. So now you have to understand, okay, what is the wisdom? And this is for everybody, because guess what? In life, you got to play your role, whatever season you got to play it. And you need to play it phenomenally because that's the role you've been given. it sets you up for the next season. And so here's what I've always tried to think about is when I'm in a situation, okay, and I'm met with a new culture, I have to think about 3 different steps to come to the conclusion of whether I should conform or confront. All right. So here's what I need to do. Step one, take time to assess. Take time to assess. You're not going to be able to understand the true answer of why and what you are supposed to do within the season within the first 2 or 3 weeks of being in a new season with a new group or a new company. It's not how it works. You're still in the trial period. People are still putting on their best behavior and best fronts. You don't really get to see the true nature of something until you really spent 6 months, 6 months to a year, really a year. Then you can really see the ins and outs, understand what's going on, understand the fabric and the foundation of where you are. When you take time to really just sit back and not just try to jump into anything and really take time and just scope out the area, you know what you're dealing with. You know what you're dealing with. You know what you're dealing with. Number 2, not only do I take time to figure out my surroundings and the environment before I make the decision to conform or confront, I like to talk. I like to talk to people. Now, I'm not one who believes in spreading gossip, not at all. But I believe conversations are always a good indication of the situation. Okay? Conversations are a good indication on your evaluation of the situation. That's just what it is. If you're a lot of times you can tell whether you need to conform or confront to a culture by the way people talk about each other, by the things they talk about, how long they talk about it, what they make you feel bad or good for talking about, whether you want to join those conversations or not. You got to actually put yourself out there and get to know people. Have conversation with them. Have conversations with the people above you, below you, and beside you. Get the 360 degree perspective of the environment that you're in. Okay? Once you're able to do that and you understand that those conversations, that's the second step. That's the second step. And so not only now do we do the first step of taking time to understand the environment, and then the second step of talking to people and understanding the topic of conversations that are within that environment. Finally, for the third thing, we have to take the opportunity to weigh our options. Because after you've seen what's going on in that environment, after you have understood the conversations at hand, now you have to sit back and ask yourself, let me weigh these options. Is it better for me to conform or confront in this situation? And there's a price to pay for each answer. And there is no right or wrong answer in this case. There's always the right answer in specific cases. But I'm not telling you that it's better to confront. I'm not telling you that it's better to conform. I'm just asking you to weigh the options before you pick one. Sit down, write a list, do a pros and cons, Venn diagram, I don't care, a T-chart, whatever you got to do, and really flesh out the nuts and bolts of the culture and the groups that you are in. And then ask yourself, what should I do? And in fact, don't just ask yourself. Ask the person that put you in the season in the first place. Go ask God. Go pray about it. Because sometimes we are dead set thinking that we know the answer and we have no clue what we're doing. So let's avoid that. He's right there. Go pray to him. Ask somebody that has a bird's eye view of the situation, that has an even better understanding of the season you're in and the environment you're in. And once you take those 3 steps, then you'll figure out what you need to do, which is to conform or confront. And I'm talking to the person right now that's in that middle ground that doesn't know what they're supposed to do. You don't know what you're supposed to do. Because all your life you've been told to do one thing. There's probably a subsection of people that have told you to lay low, don't say a word, get your work done, do what you got to do, and dip. And there's probably been a whole other subsection of people in your life that have been in here saying, you got to make some noise, you got to make some ruckus, you got to... All the greats in this world have figured out balance. And they figured out at what point do they need to make noise and at what point do they need to stay quiet. Just find the balance. Figure out what you need to do. There's no problem with conforming or confronting. The problem is you picking the wrong one in the wrong space at the wrong time. And I hope today you'll get a better understanding of which one to pick in the near future. Now, as always, you know me, I'm going to be here same time next week. But here's the homework. I want you to take those 3 steps today, and I want you to actually put them in action. Okay? Again, take time to really understand the foundation of the culture in which you are in right now, whether it be a friend group, a job, a club, or anything. Take your time and really figure it out. Number 2, start talking to more people. This goes with all my antisocial people and all that stuff. None of that. Start putting yourself out there and start having conversation, because you'll be surprised what you learn about people and that place when you start opening your mouth. And number 3, weigh the options and go pray. You get me? Ladies and gentlemen, as always, you know I love you. So glad I got to be with you this week. We got another banger episode next week that I think you'll like. Same time, same place. You know where to find me. I love you. Stay safe.